Just about every filmmaker and photographer out there has their favorite lens. That one lens that just inspires them to create. They enjoy using it. It's always in their kit, always in their bag, and they're just looking for a reason to use it. If that's you, then let me know down in the comment section what your favorite lens is and what inspires you about it. But today I'm going to show you guys my favorite lens, and that is this guy right here. This is the Sigma 85mm f1.4 Art Series lens, and it by far is my favorite lens in my kit. I would say the most important thing that I like about this lens, and it's probably the most important factor of any lens, is the image quality that it produces. The look and feel that this lens gives me just inspires me to create. I like at 85mm that I can compress that background and bring it in towards my subject. This lens actually helped me figure out that I'm more of a compression type guy, and I really like that look and feel. I like that it's a tack sharp lens. All of Sigma's Art Series glass is just really sharp. I like the fact that it's f1.4, so I can open this lens wide open and be able to just completely obliterate that background and have the nice creamy bokeh, but yet it's tack sharp so my subject pops off the background. The focus fall off is very smooth and very gradual, so when my subject is in focus, it just slowly falls off to the background into oblivion, and you can't tell where the focus starts and stops. I have other cheaper fast glass that you can clearly see the focus plane, and it's like a flat line just moving across the image as you're focusing, and there's no forgiveness whatsoever. Most of the time I'm running this lens at f1.4 and it's very forgiving. A lot of people would think that f1.4 you're going to have a hard time getting things in focus, but not with this lens. It just operates very smoothly. I also like that at f1.4 I can use it in low light scenarios and allow a lot of light onto my sensor, and I don't have to worry about cranking my ISO too much. I like this big focus ring. It's got soft starts and stops. See if you can hear that. And I like that I can put my hand on it, so a lot of the times I'll have this on my cinema rig, which I'll leave a link for you guys up here on the video that I did for my cinema rig build, but I'll have this on my Panasonic S1, which is, this is the L mount, but it comes with many different mounts, but I'll have this on my S1 in its cage with the top handle and my Adamus recorder on the top, and I'll have my hand on the focus wheel or focus ring, and I'll have focus peaking on my monitor, and I can just slowly and gradually change the focus and be able to get my subject in focus where you're not going to see those hard changes in focus. It's just very smooth. It has a very good feel to it. I like the fact that this lens is made out of metal, so it's very rugged and durable. It's like a workhorse lens. I can throw this in my bag and I don't really have to worry about it getting damaged or anything like that. I like that on the back of the mount it's got this weather seal. Even though this lens is not weather sealed, it's got a weather seal on the back of it that will prevent dust and debris from getting on my sensor. A few things that I don't like about this lens, and I would say the biggest one, no pun intended, is the size and weight of this lens. This thing comes in at 2.5 pounds. It's got an 86mm front element. That's a lot of glass there. That adds a lot of weight to this. So yes, I said I like the fact that it's made out of metal because it's durable, but at the same time it adds a lot of weight to this. And this is also an older DSLR lens that they basically just adapted for mirrorless cameras. So this is the L mount, even though it comes in many mounts, but they basically just welded the MC21 converter on the back of this to fit my camera, adding about 1.5 inches of depth. So I don't like the fact that this thing is so big and so heavy. I sometimes worry about putting this on the front of my camera that over time it's going to mess up the mount on my camera because it's so front heavy. I also don't like the fact that because it's an older DSLR lens that's been adapted, the autofocus system is very slow. It doesn't have new modern technology to it. Sometimes, you know, for portrait work it's okay, but sometimes it can take a lot of time to acquire focus on your subject. For video work, you definitely can't use this lens in autofocus because it's very noisy. You can hear the clacking of the motors as it's trying to keep focus on your subject. And again, it's still very slow trying to find the subject. So I don't like that it's got older technology on it. I also don't like the fact that it's an 86 front millimeter element. So even though that's a gorgeous piece of glass and I really like to look at it, it's kind of hard to find accessories for this. When I was looking for an ND filter to fit this piece of glass, it was a hard time finding a budget-friendly option out there because there's not a lot of manufacturers that make 86mm ND filters. Usually when people go to that size, they're using matte boxes and things like that, which I do use at times, but to have an ND filter that screws on the front or other accessories is just hard to find because of its size. And again, especially stuff that's budget-friendly. But now I'll explain to you why I will probably sell this lens. So if you follow the Sigma lineup, then you know that Sigma has just recently announced their 85mm f1.4 DG Art series lens. Now that lens is a new design native, which is DN, what DN stands for, design native piece of glass specifically for mirrorless cameras. And because they're part of the LMount alliance, then it's made specifically to be able to fit my camera. It does come in E-mount and things like that, but there's a lot of benefits to that. For one, it's a much smaller, lighter piece of glass. They shaved off 1 pound 6 ounces from that lens. So that's cutting this almost in half. That's a big difference. And then they also took off the converter on the back, so it's taking off, I think it's 1.3 inches shorter. And the front element is only 77mm, so it's the same size as the kit lens that came with my S1, so I've already got ND filters and things like that that fit it, but it's just a lot smaller, a lot lighter, and it's also got a lot of new glass, a lot of new technology in the glass. They've got different coatings and stuff on it to help prevent lens flares and things like that. And from what I've seen when I watched the live stream of them announcing the glass, it's a very nice piece of glass, and it's just made better for my system. The autofocus, if it's anything like the 24-70, which I'm filming on now, then the autofocus is just as fast as anything native that comes from Panasonic. And so it can acquire focus very easily, and you don't hear the motors, they're very silent. I like the fact that the new lens has a function button on the front. It's an autofocus lock button, but on the Panasonic S1 you can program that to do anything you want. You can turn LUTs on and off, you can turn waveforms on and off, things like that. I also like the fact that the new lens has a declicked aperture ring. That's huge for video work. You know, portrait work and stuff like that, people aren't really going to care whether it's clicked or declicked. But if you're doing video work and you're going from dark scenes to light scenes or indoor to outdoor, and you need to adjust exposure rapidly without making it apparent on the video, then you need something like a declicked aperture ring where you can gradually change that exposure and you're not seeing those incremental changes of the aperture. So that's a huge thing. So I think overall, eventually I'm going to sell this lens and get that new Sigma lens. I'm still waiting for a few more reviews and things like that to come out and just kind of get a feel for it, because I would hate to part with this lens because it is my favorite. But I also got to continue moving forward on my craft and try new lenses and try new things and just continue honing my skills. So let me know what you think about the new 85mm lens, and let me know again what your favorite lens is. That's pretty much it for today's video. I really appreciate you guys giving me your time and hearing how much I like this lens that I have now. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, please hit that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. But until then, I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.